As I drove along listening to the sat-nav screaming that it was rerouting again, I pondered the mysterious invitation I'd received. I'd had a colourful life till 10 years ago. I worked hard. I socialised harder. I had a group of friends who were tight. That was until life changed. Even Peter had to grow up eventually. I retired from the party scene and I hermited myself away. My disdain for cheap faking was part of it. If you don't like people, that's fine. Masks are also fine. They are necessary for preservation sometimes. But artificial allegiances and social politics is just so distasteful. I prefer simple, honest, and real. I hadn't been in touch with anyone for years. Many have said I was neurodivergent, or at least something like that. But I find that sadly, once I break contact, it is out of sight and out of mind. It's sad but true. I don't know why, it's just how I've always been. So you can understand why I was so surprised when the invite dropped onto my doormat. I wasn't even aware anyone knew where I was living these days. I'd not bothered with anyone, and they hadn't bothered with me. The wording bothered me also. Like, I'd seen my friend yesterday, and that was expected. It read, "Dear Jack, as promised, here is your invite to the dinner. And you know it ain't a party if you're not there. Black tie, just in case you were worried. Prompt arrival at 8 o'clock. Riverview House. Hope your head's okay. Take it easy, dude. Artie." Artie, that had always made me laugh. Resenting his birth name given by his parents due to their love of Van Gogh, Vincent's lifelong rebellion was to go by the name Artie. What's weird about this invite was it was worded like I'd seen them yesterday. Also, I stopped drinking 10 years ago, so why wouldn't my head be okay? Also, I stopped dressing like a debonair gent from centuries past when I gave up the hooch. Who knows? I guess we'll soon find out. As I approached Riverview House, a feeling of foreboding took over me. The Gothic-style, huge house before me had a vibe, if you know what I mean. I walked to the front door, only to find it open on my approach. No, seriously, who opened the door as there sure wasn't anyone saying hey? I went in, awkwardly walked around in the hall half a dozen times, giving half a dozen hellos before a voice called, "Come on through and get a drink." Here we go, and so it begins. As I walked through to the room where the voice shouted from, I found 5 of my old friends, but no Artie. "Take a pew, old bean," said what sounded like James, but he looked more like his dad. I sat down as a decanter of scotch was slid over to me. Before I could decline, Alice walked up and handed me a bottle of spiky water. I smiled at Alice with a nod and said, "Well, someone remembers." Alice smiled and took the seat against the wall. The room was lavish and grand, but despite that, 2/3 of the room was taken up by the antique table. A small bar stood in the corner. That, knowing the company I was in, would be stocked with only the best top shelf. Although the table could accommodate many more than just the 6 of us, we were all sat at one end of the table. "I wonder how long our host will keep us waiting," asked James. It was dark, the room lit by soft imitation electric lighting, set in sconces and period-fashioned chandeliers. We wasted 30 minutes on small talk. When I say it felt like old times, by that I mean good and bad. I'd missed members of this group, but then others were still full of themselves, talking about how well they were doing while character assassinating other people. You know, people we know without a thought. My anticipation and participation of these conversations was a well done act, and it was much more forced than it should have been between old friends. My BS filter was reaching its maximum capacity when we heard a gong. Ever a fan for the flamboyance and the theatrical, we turned to see what the waiting staff were bringing. However, it wasn't dinner, but someone cleared their throat. Friends, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I've invited all members of the family here this evening, even the lambs that strayed the flock. It was vital you were all here, as this evening is not about a long-lost, overdue reunion. Albeit should be, but sadly, much has happened over the last decade. I need your help. A tragedy has befallen our group, and it's down to you, my friends, to sort it out. Between the 6 of you is a killer. I know this because one of you killed me. Friends, lightning flashed, but that was it. There was no more. It sounded like our friend Artie, but there was no one there. Out of the dark, empty doorway, Artie finished his sentence. Friends, solve my murder. Find the murderer.